Okay.
All right. You want to go first?
Hey, Tracy.
What up, Tag? So we're here today because we are changing our lives. We're changing our lives, and we're doing a what they call a do-over in the recovery community, anyways. And in the recovery community, you got to do do-overs because the first time around was some very bad choices.
Yes.
And
Yes. Oh
so
my
yeah,
God.
so I am starting a private membership association, and Tag, you are starting.
A faith-based private organization.
I know some
And
faith in it too.
yes, I help women feel better
Mm,
mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And yeah, that's what I do. My background is corporate.
okay.
Um, so I have been in when I left my corporate life, I was a director. And so, it's it costs the company money to have me come in, money that they just don't want to pay for. So I ended up opening a dance studio and started working for myself. The first year it was fitness, dance fitness, and then I transitioned into ballroom, which I loved and became a competitive ballroom dancer. And then I spent the last 12 years helping women reconnect with them. It's personal development. That's what I call it. Personal
With their
development.
bodies through dance, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Dance was the tool for them to get recentered and focus inward, because you not only do you have to push limitations physically, but you have to push your own limitations mentally. You pull inward for spiritual, because you, there's so many blockages that keep the body and mind disconnected. You find yourself having a new conversation with yourself of, I know I can do this. Why aren't my legs moving? You start asking the inner questions of what's holding you back. And a lot of that has to do with trauma.
And
And
so I have a question. So so you did dance, you opened your dance studio, and now you're opening a holistic faith-based organization, practice, PMA, private membership association. And so now you're in a transition where you're taking all the knowledge from the corporate world and,
all my studies and all
people,
my teachings,
and then
yeah.
the dance, and then you're focusing now on uh, women, menopausal women, or just women in general.
It's women's health,
Mhm.
simply because I work with all ages of women.
Okay.
And I have to say that 70% of my clientele was women who were older, because they had the time and the resources to um, invest in themselves to dance. And so if they want to get better, they need a professional. And then there was 20% of those women who were under the age of menopausal, and they were starting their families, or they were in between families. It was such a big bucket of life going on there that needed focus, attention, and direction. And then the last 10% was couples, because I did work. I did do choreography for their first wedding dance, for bridal parties and bachelorette parties, and the list goes on and on and on. So there's also couple counseling in there, except for it takes two to agree to hire a professional to help them develop and grow.
Yeah,
and
it's a little
connect.
harder when you have the two people instead of one, and trying to get them together. But that is the
Yes,
dance, right? That is the dance.
yes,
And
that is dance.
and so your association is Kiss My Artsy. Love that, girl.
Yes.
And so, and so now it's going to be virtual instead of like coming in person, right? It's going to be on an online association that you're developing and have developed. And then, so what, because we're both in, we've both gone through Ritually Rooted, which is another faith-based organization, PMA, established out of Colorado and Costa Rica. I mean, how much cooler can you get, right?
Right.
And they certified us in
Licensing to make it
holistic
all possible.
practitioner,
Yeah.
and also herbalism, right? And so we have that knowledge added to all the rest of the list of the certifications that we have. And so are you going to be doing HTMA and nutritional support, or what does your flow or possible flow maybe look like?
Yes, I will be doing HTMA, which is toxin testing. It's important to know the root cause of what's keeping you blocked. And we always think about what we can put in our bodies, what we can take. Well, there's also the other side of it, of how much you need to release and what you need to expel as well.
And how you need to release it too, right? Because I mean, it can be very stressful on the body when you're detoxing, right?
Right. And after a certain age, detoxing toxins become very critical, simply because your body no longer has the capacity to rapid heal. And so there's a process that you have to go through, so it's not painful, because you're already dealing with a lot. Right. It's fine-tuning, adjusting, tweaking, figuring out by process more. It goes beyond more than process of elimination, because you need to know the reason why. And it could trigger trauma, emotionally, mentally, physically, and that has to be guided through. Now, I do also do well women retreats, or well woman retreats as well, simply because it's part of that spiritual healing.
Is that in person or virtual, the retreat?
That's in person.
Oh, really?
I would like. I would
so you
like
have
to
the
keep
land for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, great.
So I would like to keep that. I would like to keep that offline as right now as much as possible, because of the distractions that come with being online and squeezing it in instead of committing to it.
Yeah, that's something like that. It's like an event, and you would put out a private invitation to, say, 6 or 8 women, and it's very intimate, and you sit with the moon, and you sit with the sun, and you sit with the cycles of the feminine and the masculine, right? Because we don't want, even when it's all women, we still have a masculine inside of us that we need to tend to. And
correct.
Okay, all right. And so that's that'll be interesting to see what you get coming out in the next, 6 months or whatever. Okay.
Yes, which I have been working on, and it's fun, and it's also connecting,
Mhm.
It's very different from the dance world, even though we do move our bodies.
Mhm.
There is no twerking, dropping it like it's hot. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
come on. If I was at that retreat, I'd be twerking. I'll just let you know. And I'd be booty slapping. And I'd get the older women to do it too. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yes, there's a special class for that. So
Years.
it's not part of my retreat. But it's also soul searching, and that can, I don't want to say it can be dangerous, but it can be very unexpected,
We like danger. We like danger. Danger is not bad. Like, so in the work that I do, and so I have the Mother House, which is a sacred temple and an energy center. And I do a lot of shadow work. That's what I do. That's my main thing. I bring out the shadow and everybody and everything that I'm around. And I would call it the Hyoka shaman. So there's something called the Hyoka shaman, which back in ancient times, they would call on the Hyoka and to come to funerals and lighten the mood, right?
Right.
So like, I think we even shy away from saying things like feces or poop, death, right?
Right.
Even like anything that comes out of any body orifice, which is ultimately is natural, right? And it's just our body like doing what our body needs to do. Any of the darker, dangerous, like, right? Like, women need to embrace their danger again
Yes.
in a healthy way.
Yes.
Yeah. Love that.
Absolutely.
Cool. So retreats, cool. So if you're one of the lucky girls that gets a special invitation, good for you.
Right.
All right. But then you have we both kind of are developing and in the works of developing high ticket offers, low ticket offers, right? So like something that is very more extensive, and I'm not fully done with mine yet. In embodied, I am. Embodied, I can literally take somebody through hell, no problem. But in the computer world, I'm still working on what that looks like, navigating the circuits of the board.
Oh boy, aren't we all? Good. It is a different landscape, let me tell you. I mean,
What the heck?
who said old dogs can't learn new tricks? Okay.
No shit. Oh man. And I mean, sometimes I think it's not even, it's like the circuits of my brain are the things that lose function and go like haywire. It's not even in here. And then the computer's like, what are you doing? Because we're trying to carry you right now and you're going off the deep end, I'm like, why can't I get this shit together? So I've had to have a whole routine built on how not to completely freak out when my buttons aren't working or the navigational tool is going to the wrong place or whatever that may be. And I am going to, quote unquote, upset somebody or send them in the wrong direction, because as the women and mothers that we are, we've just been held to like standards of like not trying not to disappoint others. And I don't know if that's just ingrained in us.
So unrealistic expectations and judgment. It's just not, it's not right. I think it's more of a human condition because men could say the same,
Yeah.
but I think that is human nature, and to have these unrealistic perfectionism expectations.
Yeah.
We're the only species that does that,
Yeah, it's a
So
gift and a curse, I think.
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a short circuit moment the other day trying to get, online savvy, and I think that lasted like a 10-minute crying session. you know
Thank God we can laugh about it now.
right, yeah. There's no tears and online.
Yeah, no shit. It's something that's ingrained. It's okay. And so I feel like all this work that we do, whether it's has to do with nutrition, whether it has to do with energy, whether it has to do with how we walk in the world, I think is ingrained and in our body system. So our muscles, our blood, our nervous circuit system, our all those systems that we have.
Mhm.
And in order to shift these things, it comes from a place that is beyond time and space. It is beyond what our thinking mind actually thinks it can do to fix it. And
Yeah.
so we almost have to go into these places with people who have gone through certain initiatory periods and trainings to be able to almost have develop a process, and also to not make choices that is going to impede on the natural unfolding of these healing modalities, techniques that our body innately has, and also the presence. I can't say this
Mhm.
enough. It's like when I get in the presence of certain people and certain
Yeah.
energies, it is very healing and growth producing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Very so. Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
So back to we were kind of like talking about and now is your website, does that have well, you're just now getting in with private prosperity, right? So
Yes.
he's going to kind of guide you to setting up the private realm, because I'm in the private realm. You're going in the private realm.
Yes. Well, my website is set up, and basically it's just really about me
Okay.
and some of the things that I do, that I can share now. There's people who I associate with and connect with. I mean, my previous career fields kind of made me into a master networker, and
Okay.
so people are looking for a place to land, and so the website is there for them to
And then
browse through.
is there a discovery call place where they can like kind of chat with you? Or are you doing that, or is that just text right now, or email?
Well, right now, since I moved to a new location, I don't know anyone here,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I'm trying to get everything organized on the marketing and advertising first, just
Yeah.
getting it organized, because you know once you hit the ground, you usually hit the ground running, and there's my previous experience. I really wasn't that organized when I decided to go in business for myself. And there's always room for
Did that
improvement.
too.
Yes. And so,
This is like this, right? The do-over, because with the whole
yes,
trying to put your business out there, it had a crumbly foundation, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And it couldn't stay afloat because it needs to have those foundational things there, because we're just one person. We're one person
Right.
to be able to do
We're
all the jobs.
exactly. And, I'm a go-getter. I go out there and I get it, So I was extremely busy very quickly. And then to manage people, and then also not having a solid, organized foundation, it bred disaster. I mean, I connected with some energies that were not healthy for me and my business, and I have to say that there were three phases to it. And so, one of those phases is that I gave artists a platform to work on their craft. Doctors want to doctor, surgeons want to operate. They have a facility that they go and do that in. And artists, it takes the vibe to really stir things up. And so that's one thing that was lacking in the area that I was in, was a creative space for artists, performers, musicians, could have a safe space to create
We have,
in.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Cafe Lena. Have you heard of Cafe Lena ever?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Cafe Lena, which is in the town that I grew up in, Saratoga Springs, New York. And it was, it was developed in the 70s, or
Mhm.
opened by Lena herself.
Right.
And she was probably a starving artist herself, but she wanted to give
Absolutely.
space
Hmm.
for starving artists to be safe in. And I think, you know what, actually, now that we're talking about that, I feel like that completely parallels with the associations, faith-based organizations that we are opening now.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's more screening that I'm doing now, which is, it'll benefit everyone,
Mhm.
because it only takes one bad seed to just ruin the whole bunch. So I was very shocked to see how much greed is in that industry, when
Mhm.
it's such a healing industry, because you're moving your
There's a
body,
shadow
you're
and everything.
interconnected.
There's a shadow and everything.
There is a shadow in everything. Exactly. And so, you kind of want that shadow to work with you, not against you.
Mhm.
And I was just one person holding it down, building it, growing it, nurturing it, you know.
Yeah.
And at one point, I had 11 people trying to take me down all at one time.
Yeah, and I feel like, so this is kind of, it's interesting you bring this up, because I think it's part of the process of developing a successful, whatever it is that you're doing, endeavor, whether it's a fellowship or it is a business or whatever.
Hmm.
I think you have to go through a trial and error to see where your boundaries need to be, and what is sacred, what is sovereign, what is true, right?
Right.
And so it was it was it was almost mind blowing to me to see the animalistic society that we live in and the components of that, and really what is light and what is dark for me to see in
Hmm.
the world, in order to sit in the space that I need to sit in, which I'm a leader. I know that I'm a leader. You said, like, and I surround myself with other leaders.
Yes.
So a lot of times when you're developing a space for many leaders, everybody wants to lead.
Everybody wants to lead. And then get offended if you let them lead, instead of saying, yeah, let me nurture you a little bit here. Let me mold you a little bit here and set you along the way so you can divide and conquer instead. Why aren't you're playing favorites, and
Yeah.
you're not paying attention to me, and
Well, you know what? You
it's
know what
like,
it is, I
God.
think, is that, and this is, I came to this simple thing is that I want everybody to have a place within my space, but I'm the mother. I'm the mother of my space, and that's just the way it is going to be. Like,
Right.
and that's okay. Like everybody gets every place, every home, and I would call my association a home, has a mother. And other mothers can be in there, but they just have to know who the mother of the place is, right?
Hmm.
And so it's interesting because I'm going back to the recovery community because we learned lots and lots of little
Hmm.
one-liners and principles, and it's about the intention behind whatever somebody has, and so that it may look like right for the space, whether it's a person or a venue or whatever, people, places, and
Hmm.
things. But the intention behind it is not right. It's not, it's like, they have, and you know what the interesting thing is too, is that I don't want to get too far into this, but we have many components in our brains, many different patterns, and one of them is like a parasitic type of pattern, and sometimes people don't even know that they have the wrong intention.
Right.
They're coming in and they're like, oh yeah, the words that are coming out of their mouth sound real good.
Yeah.
But
Looks
ultimately
good.
they haven't done the work
Hmm.
in order to sit with the words that are coming out of their mouth. And so ultimately
Right.
there's a dissonance there. And
Yep.
maybe they don't even know that they're putting the cart before the horse. And how would we even know that unless we set up this association within the private sector and
Right.
under so when we go through with Rob with the private sector, you develop all these bylaws, you develop all of these principles um, and traditional things that whatever calls
Hmm.
for the space to create
Hmm.
it to be sacred, and it's just a stronger foundation, I guess.
Yes, stronger foundation. I mean, mom needs support too. And that's what Originally Rooted is doing for us,
Oh my God, I
supporting
love
us while
them.
we lead, you know? And
I want to call them kids. I don't know. I always want to call them. I love those kids
yeah,
because they're so young, man. And like, I swear, in the energy of our universe right now, and I'll just say the energy of our planet,
mhm,
people being born, later in life or like now, um, the younger generation, they have some high technology shit built into them. I don't even know. They're
yeah,
like, oh yeah, they're running like, $1 million businesses at like 18. And you're
right.
like, shit, where the hell was I? Like,
On their own,
I
yeah.
was on the streets, like hanging out with the homeless when I was like their age.
Yeah, at 18, I think I was living out of my car too. Yeah.
And they're like teaching like old people like business advice and shit. And I'm like,
Right.
I love it. I think it's whatever, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
I have so much respect for them. I really do. And, I'm not really down with the labels and all this other stuff about, millennials and Gen X and this and that and da da da. I know it's just categories that you have to sum up a situation very, directly as
Yeah.
quick as you can. So I have to say that I think out of a selected few, I've been rooting for the millennials. I've been rooting for the Gen Xers. I I have, because they saw firsthand of what they didn't want, what they can have, and what they can pursue.
And the navigate, so the
versus,
matrix itself has
yeah,
grown, and they've learned how to navigate the matrix in the modern
right,
world. Yeah.
exactly. Versus, we weren't given that same
Hence why you
advice
struggle
or
with the
yeah,
goddamn
you did.
circuitry system.
You either did this or you did that.
Do it good,
It was just, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, we were so caught up, and to think outside the box was frowned upon. You had to go along with the system, and no matter how messed up it was. And so I admire this group of the younger generation that's like, look, we're offering you a piece of what we're doing here. It's up to you what you're going to do with it. But in case you need the support, we're available. So, and I love that. You can connect. You can figure it out. Here's a roadmap.
So we can give Ritually Rooted a plug right now. So they're a PMA. You can find them online, and they help people start a holistic practice, right? Isn't that what they do?
Right.
And they go above and beyond. I'll tell you, they certify you, and they are very attentive and helping you and guiding you through the whole development process. And lastly, which is completely amazing, the community itself is unbelievable, and you have lifetime access to it. I mean, you cannot ask for anything more. You really can't with Ritually Rooted. I love them.
Right.
Love them.
Love them. Oh my gosh. I can't. I have nothing but good words to say about them. Yeah. Nothing but good words. And these group of kids, they're just awesome. It kind of reminded me of my ex's niece and nephew. They were just, I admired those kids. I mean, I still do. It's two little white kids living in the ghetto in Florida, just living their life. And I'm like, aren't you scared? And they're like, nope, we're just living our lives, making things happen.
It's all about the mindset. It is all about the mindset, I'll tell you.
Yes. And so, I mean, to see them they're young adults and they're not afraid of anything. What
are they doing? They're like thriving in a ghetto. Is that?
Oh no, they're grown up now, have their own families and things like that. And so, but to watch them over expand of years, just mature into fine human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
it
is. It's great. It's a wonderful thing to witness that, the road wasn't easy for them, and just like many other people, it's not. There's so much disconnect there. Being human is being fucking human. I mean, it's not easy. And we all want to divide ourselves,
Life is, wow, it is a road. It is a fucking roller coaster. And it's interesting because I can see the process in growth, and what separates a cyclic lifestyle and what's compared to a spiral lifestyle, I would say, right? Oh, yeah. So where, I mean, I was in a cyclic, just a circle, and just continuing to repeat over and over and over again the same lessons all the way up until, well, I got sober in 2016. So I was 38 at the time. And once I started to clear, once I started to stay clear long enough to get to the next rung of the spiral out of that circle, it was like, what I like, the analogy I like with that is, so the door was shut for all the way. And I think this was even, I don't like to see things time and linear. And so I feel like there's just been many separate lifetimes that I've lived where it aided in trying to get to the place where I opened the door just a little bit, just a little,
Right. Yeah.
and it let that light in. Right. And I think the light it's everything in my external is a reflection. So the door is inside. And finally I let the light out, really, right? And then it was just kind of prying it open. And maybe even kind of like you know, I would open it a little bit and then
Yeah. Yes.
And so yeah, it was developing a dialogue with what I like to say now is inner voices, because I feel like there's just so many components of my character, who I am, and what I want to get to know. And I feel like it's a lifetime of even meeting new pieces of that character, and
Yeah.
you know, letting go of some old ones too.
Yeah. I can agree with that. You know, letting the light in is hard simply because you just don't want it to go out, you know? Kind of like waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know?
Mhm.
Afraid that once it gets good, it gets real good, and then you're just waiting for something to, you know, the door to slam and da 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 da. You know, that's self-sabotage, you know. It took me a long time to finally figure that out, which set me on this path,
Mhm.
you know, besides the trauma that with it, you know.
It feels good to want to feel good.
It does.
Finally.
It feels good to want to feel good. And we've been functioning so long feeling horrible that we don't even know what it's like to feel good, to be at peace, to be
Mm.
happy, and not be afraid to show it, you know.
Yeah, so I had a singing instructor um for 10 years. Her name was Diana Domingo, and she ran Center for Song in Saratoga, although now it's called Vocal Voyaging. And she does kirtans in I don't know, I think it's Schenectady or Troy or something, a town over, but she's like a yoga instructor and all this stuff. But she would always say to me, because I had a lot of fear, a lot of stage fright, a lot of fear, and she would say that like the fear and excitement, they sit in the same receptor sites. And so
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, I just have to choose what I want to call it.
Right. You got to give it a purpose.
And I had such a hard time, like my brain had such a hard time saying it's okay to call it excitement.
Yeah.
Like it wanted to be, it just could not, it did not want to let go of that fear piece. It didn't. It protected me for so long, I guess. It had built probably my whole entire life around blaming it, shaming myself.
Right. Yeah.
I can laugh now, but I mean, I spent many, many, many nights in the moonlight crying for a very long time,
Yes.
because it was this place of deep sadness of it's like a letting go. It's a letting go, right? It's
Yes.
letting go
Yes.
of what I have decided and chosen. I have a choice if I'm sober. And so here's a piece that is very interesting that I had learned. If you are shoving substances in your body, and that goes for, in the shamanic world, we like to say anything that you can change from a medicine into a poison, right? So if you take too much, or you're not creating a sacred bond with whatever the substance is, and you abuse it, you're turning it into a poison. But everything, even marijuana, even probably every single drug out there could actually be a medicine. But ultimately, it's already concentrated from, our governments or whatever is on the streets or whatever. They concentrate it so much. So by the time you get it, it's already a poison. It's just too concentrated. Like when beer first started and alcohol first started to, be in the network. At least I heard this in school. They would say that they would drink alcoholic beverages, beer or whatever, because the water was, had bacteria in it or something.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, well, was everybody just walking around drunk all the time? Like, I mean, we can't drink the water. You got to drink beer, right? And I found out through research was that the beer then was not made the same way. It wasn't as potent. It was like an O'Doul's.
Yes.
Or kombucha, right? And and so yes, I could drink kombucha probably all day, no problem, right? And that would keep my substance and my relationship to this substance that I'm putting into my body at a tolerable, maintainable level that I can have a good relationship with it and not what we like to say, our life becomes unmanageable, and then we're owned by whatever it is that is turned into a poison.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell that conversation was going or where it came from, but we were talking about something that brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah, we were.
Rabbit hole.
It's just gone.
I love it. I don't even freaking care anymore. I really don't.
Right. Yeah.
Cheers to losing our minds.
We're just, we're connecting. And this is what the younger generation does. They don't consult with what's not connecting. They consult with what is connecting.
Yeah.
Versus the opposite of what we were shown all of our lives,
Yeah, I love it. So ultimately, because we're getting to the point where we probably should try and wrap it up a little bit because you have your appointment soon. And so today, we're just talking about real life situation where we're at today. Kiss My Artsy and the Mother House is they are both faith-based organizations that sit under the private membership association space. And you can go to themotherhouse.org for mine, although it is still under construction a little bit. But you can definitely sign in to get a discovery call and chat with me a little bit if that's something somebody wants to do. And can they get a hold of you somehow, Tag?
Yes, they can go to the website, kissmyodyssey.com, and browse around, book a call if they are suffering with any type of hormonal changes, sleepless nights, mood swings. Gosh, the list goes on and on and on for women dealing with female issues. And I believe there is a quiz on the website as well that you can just take a few minutes and go through the quiz and see exactly where you stand on your life changes. That's what I like to call it.
The hormonal thing is a big thing these days. I mean, the earth has the elements, the water, the air, the earth, and the fire. And those are all, they're not as pure as we would want them to be anymore because, we've got a lot of people in this world. And, but there are certain tests that are beyond anything that you would get in a regular routine testing from your mainstream providers. It's called HTMA, which stands for hair, mineral hair, help me with this, tissue, hair tissue mineral analysis.
You can do it. You can do it, Tracy.
So hair tissue mineral analysis. And what that does is I also have the ability to provide this service as well. And what that does is it takes a piece of your hair and it analyzes it and figures out what your body makeup is on an electromagnetic level, with electrolytes, minerals, heavy metals, and all of those things that can ultimately create a big component of that is the hormonal imbalances, also gut issues, breathing issues, sinus issues, skin issues is a big one. And all of those things, if you can at least get a baseline at the ratios of your electrolytes, what that is. And ultimately we work with providers that can give the information needed to, help you on your journey. You can start there. The another big component is of that is, what your environment looks like and what you're putting in your body and how you're spending your time.
Right. So yeah, basically it's your whole wide world, tested past, present, and future, basically. So, your environment and yourself of your past, which, sometimes we do things that aren't very healthy choices, and it affects us. And it also measures where you're currently at in your life, so you can improve on it to set yourself up in the future for success on environment, body, mind, your whole world. So that's basically what that testing does. It goes way deeper than a blood test. Blood test gives you immediate results.
And blood tests, what I found, what I've learned is a blood test tests the blood. And so there's many other components where these imbalances can be. They can be in the muscles, they can be in the nervous system. And ultimately, if you're pulling blood from a localized place in the body, that is not giving a more comprehensive evaluation on what would be helpfully provided through this test. And the other component is, well, I guess what I would say after being a nurse for, since 2013 when I got my RN, there's a whole process to getting to the root cause, root cause of your issues, and whether it be hormonal, energy, blood, bone, all those systems, any of those, lymphatic, and if you're not going down the right path, or you're not going deep enough, you will be, let's say, band-aiding it, right? You will be, you'll either be going down the wrong path and treating treating symptoms that ultimately aren't associated with the root cause, or you will be
creating a new
one.
Right. Yeah. That you didn't have before.
Yeah. And so, we also, we have, personally, this is how I've learned how to speak to my body and how to allow my body to speak to me. And these are the things that I've done to help me be bright in the world and be happy and joyous and free in my soul.
And be right with yourself as well. You know, you only
Yeah.
get one body. You
Yeah.
only get one life. You know, who made suffering so popular? I don't
Yeah, this
get
time.
it.
I mean, you could have more lives, but you're not in those lives right now. You're in this life.
In
And,
this one.
yeah, and this
Yeah.
body needs to be treated as a temple. And so yeah, so
Appreciated and value. It's the only thing, really, your body is the only thing you can control in this world. It really is. Not
I
everything out of it.
I don't like to use the word control, but yes, I
You
agree.
know what I mean? I mean, you have dominion over it. You know,
You're like Tracy, tit for tat. Come on, Jesus.
yes. Dial down the holistic. Okay.
I know. I know. It's awful.
All those big words.
Yeah, but this has been a great episode. This has been a great. I mean, is that what they call it on YouTube? Episodes or channels? What is that?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
I'm trying to learn the language.
All right.
Viewers, subscribers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just say people.
Yeah, this is good. And we're gonna be doing these daily as much as we can,
Yes.
anyways. Okay. So look out for more of this. And if you are struggling emotionally, mentally, physically, or spiritually, hit up those websites and take a look and open the door. Open the door to that light.
All right. Just open the door, just a little crack. Need a little oil for it, but anyway, whatever. But yeah, so we're trying this out and see where it goes. And there's going to be spaghetti on the walls. That's okay. Clean that up. Some crumbs on the floor. It's all right. So yeah.
Love that, sister. Okay, so do we want to stop recording?
Okay. Yes. We will stop recording. Oh, it's on the other side of the screen. Sorry, my monitor is like this big now. It used to be this big, so now I can see everything. So when I'm talking, it's like a ping pong match going back and forth at the screen because I'm just trying to take it all in. So anyway, we will catch you next video.
Yay. Yay.
It's not stopping. Stop recording. There it goes.
The spaghetti.